Hi, I'm Ashley Park, and this is my presentation on climate change and moral outrage. A British philosopher named James Garvey is affiliated with the Royal Institute of Philosophy. His 2010 article was published in the Human Ecology Review. This passage discusses the ethical dimension of climate change. Written in the aftermath of failed global climate summits like Copenhagen, the article highlights the moral inaction of developed nations, particularly in the West. There are ethical dilemmas that are faced. Although developed nations are fully aware of the devastating impact their emissions have on the global climate, many continue to delay or avoid meaningful action. This raises a critical moral question: who bears responsibility for the harm caused by climate change? Garvey argues that those with the greatest knowledge and capacity to respond, wealthy industrialized nations, have a moral obligation to act. This view draws on deontology ethics, particularly the principle that those who can prevent harm without great cost are morally required to do so. Ignoring this duty, despite having the power and means, is ethically indefensible. Now that we saw the dilemmas, Garvey also has an argument. The West is historically responsible for the majority of greenhouse gas emissions. These nations have the financial and technological means to reduce emissions. Their failure to act is not just unfortunate, it is profound moral failure. Individuals in these societies also share the responsibility for ethical action. In this passage, I found three ethical theories that were applied. Utilitarianism: reduce harm, those who cause damage should fix it. The second, deontology: moral rules apply equally, states and individuals alike. The third, virtue ethics: acting on climate change shows good moral character. Then we move on to key terms and concepts. Moral responsibility: developed nations cause the most emissions and have the greatest capacity to act. Singer's principle: if you break it, you should help fix it. Capacity principle: more ability equals more responsibility. Luxury versus substance emissions: Western emissions often stem from luxury, not necessity. Then we move on to opposing views and Garvey's response. My actions are too small. Garvey: morality isn't about size, it's about consistency. China pollutes more now. Garvey: past emissions and capacity still matter. Waiting for others isn't an excuse to do nothing. Then I have two important quotes. To put it in terms a child could understand, the developed nations broke it. Peter Singer. In the second quote, if the conclusion is that your life is a moral outrage, you ought to take all rational steps to change it. James Garvey. And finally, we have the final evaluation. The article by Garvey delivers an ethical analysis of how both the government and people fail to address climate change. The author demands that people should stop hiding behind excuses because they need to understand the importance of their contribution to the worldwide crisis. The takeaway from this passage is that we need consistency, responsibility, and morality demand meaningful change. Garvey's argument is clear and strong, rooted in ethics. He uses real data and moral theory effectively. His call for consistency is powerful, but some may resist the personal guilt. Still, it's a thought-provoking and well-supported position. Thank you for listening.